You win, my boy.
4 months after Angie Sweeney was murdered here, her father Brian and son Wyatt still visit.
She was all about love. Love and caring, and she did live life to the fullest. You know, for the short life she lived.
And it was love that defined her last act of heroism, telling her daughter to hide under the bed when her ex Bobby showed up with a gun.
Well, she had heard him kick the door in, and she heard him coming up the stairs. She had closed this door, put her back up against it, and she stayed against the door, blocking the door from him trying to get in. And then he shot her through the door, right here. That's the reason why most of the flooring is lifted up from cleaning stuff.
We start with disturbing news from Northern Ontario, where police in Sault Ste. Marie are investigating the death of 5 people.
Angie Sweeney was the first of Bobby Hallert's victims that October night. Minutes after shooting her, he drove to another ex-partner's home, seriously injured her, then shot and killed his 3 children before turning the gun on himself.
Police there are saying little about what happened, except that it was a case of intimate partner violence.
I was totally blindsided to all of this. It just goes to prove that anybody can end up in this situation. And I just know it's just destroyed me and my life. I love you, my boy.
I love you too.
The Sweeneys want Angie to be remembered for who she was.
The Piggies were part of a family crib tournament we had.
And not just as another statistic.
I always got a kick out of this one, is her golden slipper.
What is it you want people to know about your mom and what she was like?
She was amazing. Through everything. She raised me well.
After Angie broke up with Bobby, he wouldn't leave her alone. He kept coming over here and she had to get police involved. He also bombarded her with messages. She had to block him on just about every app, but he found a way around all that.
You shallow piece of shit trying to lead me on like a fucking clown.
Bobby sent Angie this vulgar message embedded in a bank transfer for 1 cent.
I hate you. So that's like literally like, this one says 908 and this one says 908.
An hour later,
so like,
he killed her. Her friends, Amanda, Renee, and Lindsay, have been piecing together her final days.
I was supposed to go over that evening. Like, I think she was at the point of wanting to open up to her friends and let everyone in know that what was happening.
She was probably one of the strongest people I know. He wore her down so much over 3 years.
Angie and Bobby got together just as the pandemic hit in March of 2020. She knew he had a bad reputation, but might not have known what was in his court records. That he had smashed in the window of a police car and that he assaulted officers in 2 different Ontario communities. And police say he also had a history of intimate partner violence, though nothing that ever resulted in charges. Bobby even installed cameras around Angie's home.
he could hear everything she was saying. That came later after a fight, that she realized that he could actually hear everything too through the camera.
And toward the end, he hit her, but she didn't file charges.
She's like, you know, Renee, of all people, that you can have your happily ever after and life works out and, you get it. But I was like, but not with a guy who smokes meth and has a gun, Ange.
Where are the places that you guys think the system could better have protected her?
It would have been helpful if they would have took him and held him for maybe 48 hours, I would say. Let him sober up off of the drugs he was on. Give Angie time to figure out a plan moving forward without him.
Yeah, definitely.
These violent deaths shattered this community, but we've been here before.
Anastasia Kuzik, Natalie Warmerdam, and Carol Colton were all killed within 25 kilometers of each other.
In another small Ontario community, Renfrew County.
It was September 22nd, 2015, that Basil Barutsky went on a shocking rampage.
An inquest into that triple femicide made 86 recommendations a year and a half ago, meant to prevent tragedies like the one that happened here in October.
At the Women in Crisis shelter,
Hi, Katie. Come on in.
Thank you. How are things?
Busy, but not bad. People a little nervous, having left situations, about to leave situations.
Are they more nervous because of what happened?
Yeah.
Norma Elliott says many of those recommendations aren't in place. Recommendation number 1, declare intimate partner violence an epidemic. Sault Ste. Marie, like nearly 100 other communities in Ontario, has done it. The Ford government and Prime Minister Trudeau have both refused.
It's frustrating. For me, one of the issues comes down to the justice system. I don't think that the justice system does all that it could do or needs to do to protect survivors.
Other recommendations include a campaign that would help people spot warning signs, changing the criminal code to better reflect the realities of intimate partner violence, and more funds for people in crisis.
When someone says, okay, I'm ready, I need help, that's when they need help. Not, okay, great, we'll put you on a list.
So you think that this is maybe an inflection point?
I'm hoping it is. I'm hoping it's a point where people have said, okay, enough's enough. We need to really seriously take a look at ending this. This needs to stop.
I think it would be impossible not to say that there wasn't a failure. Why didn't we see this? Did we do everything we could to prevent something like this?
Chief Hugh Stevenson says his officers can only work within the law. Angie didn't report the previous assault and she didn't have a protection order. But she did call them to have Bobby removed for trespassing.
They were all occurrences that, wasn't something the police could, arrest on or remove on. And in most of those cases, he left on his own. So you don't have a situation where the criminal code can apply. However, we need to do more.
Criticized for not doing enough, his police force now looking into whether they can proactively connect women who might be at risk with domestic violence resources, even if no charges have been laid.
We need to do more for the victim, and that's all about prevention. Would it have helped in this situation? I don't know. My gut is it would.
But the Sweeneys want more. They want to change the criminal code so police can arrest and hold people like Bobby.
I don't understand why change takes so long. Why does it take so long to pass a bill? It takes forever.
Especially when it's in the safety and interest of the majority of the normal, everyday people.
Angie's dad, Mom Sue, sister-in-law Sabrina, and big brother Brian Jr., now proud members of Angie's Angels.
I remember her saying to me one time, she said to me, it doesn't matter to me what I have in life. What I care about is how people think about me when I'm gone. And that really stuck with me now because she's got a red carpet. This isn't the way I wanted her to have it, but she has it.
And so they're here on Thursdays, Angie's Angels, exhausted but driven.
We're just over 3 months since all of this happened, and I think some of us are still living in between grieving and trying to put our lives back together.
First order of business, talking to a federal MP about getting behind Bill C-332, which would strengthen laws around controlling abusive behavior.
When someone who's impacted by intimate partner violence is leaving, that's the most dangerous sign for them.
Honoring Angie, not so much with grief, but action to protect others.
We just kind of want to make sure that there's actual change happening all the time, and making sure that Angie's Angels is part of that. Angie's Angels!